Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from an anonymous a-hole, and here's what he has to say. Hi Sandman, my topic request is something I've been fascinated with for a while. It seems not to be covered very often. The epiphany phase women. A little background on me first. I'm in my mid-30s, grew up sheltered in a suburban housing tract, and was almost never allowed to socialize outside of school. I'm a naturally social guy who grew up in a clannish, mother-controlled, conservative, stressful, Puritan work ethic-obsessed family, so this was hellish for me and bestowed upon me the label of black sheep that lasts to this day. This caused me some social awkwardness because I was so excited to socialize when I could that I would F up and come out as a total autist. I went to college and immediately made a ton of friends, got recruited into a top-performing fraternity, and enjoy a crazy social life in a major West Coast city. I was always a beta by choice even in my college days, thinking that was the road less traveled way to get girls. It worked a few times, but probably only because I had the social proof of fraternity letters, mega alpha friends, and a knack for throwing parties to back me up. I've always been fascinated by social norms and patterns, and I've gotta say, nothing is more entertaining than watching women go from their alpha schlong hungry college days to those post-college years and onwards into their 30s. It's like a dog with 3 legs. You don't want to look, but damn, it's hard not to. Here are a few choice life paths I've documented for the college party girl. Number 1. Graduate, still single, but good looking. Move to California or Las Vegas, where successful men buy you bottle service. Spend too much time in the sun and partying, fail to land a rich husband or get famous, move back north broke, and marry a beta simp. Future divorce optional. Post on Facebook about how much you want to travel and how wanderlust you really are. Don't actually travel, remain unhappy. Number 2. Graduate single and unattractive, get fat, get administrative job at a non-profit, maybe marry another unattractive beta, fade into obscurity. Number 3. Graduate attractive and be engaged to an alpha or beta soon after. Most of these divorce within a few years, but the successful ones seem to be the ones that are the most well off today. Boring, but a good deal for girls in society. Number 4. Graduate somewhat attractive but keep partying. These are the girls that still want Chad's attention and will settle for nothing less. They are maybe a 7 out of 10 at best, but the partying and being thrown into the real world destroys their attitudes and looks. They keep on shutting decent guys down into their mid-20s and keep doing this even after they lose their looks and stuff their gullets with wine and brunch. These are the silent victims of feminism and the Sex and the City lifestyle. They really think that they're going to ride on their looks until their magical prime. Into their early 40s, they've actually been hearing about so much. Some of these women also divorce their husbands to exploit this fabulous lifestyle. The thing is, the supply of alpha men dries up around the age of 27 or 28. This is when it gets hilarious. So these post-wall women heavily get into social media narcissism. Their ego manifests in joining an echo chamber of you go-girl feminist women power claptraps that basically flood Facebook, Instagram, and lately even LinkedIn. They hit their epiphany phase. They swear off casual sex, humbly brag about being catcalled on the streets, try to clean up their diets, do useless body cleanses, eat and photograph disgusting-looking expensive health products and detoxes, but keep on partying. They up their standards to a level that not even Chad can meet. They sometimes magically find long-term boyfriends, post photos incessantly on social media with them, and none of them seem to last more than a couple of months. Sometimes they find their beta provider, but the really entertaining ones get so self-obsessed that they tout themselves as empowerment coaches or health coaches, which is a denial mechanism they're using to extend their shelf life and avoid having to get real jobs. I mean, look at some of these accounts on Instagram and look at the pain in some of their eyes. You can do this because they all post ultra close-up facial selfies in their validation-seeking posts. This is their last-ditch effort at fame and landing their Chad. But the market for this is saturated, and they eventually give up because they can't get any followers. Sometimes they'll post hundreds of pictures of their dog for cheap likes or pictures with their baby nieces in hopes that someone comments asking if it's her baby. But none of this interests Chad. Depression, therapy, and ego-masturbating self-discovery trips to Bali ensue. Some of these girls despise me now because in this time I've improved my life, career, have a regular rotation of 20-something girls, travel on lavish vacations, and generally alphaed up over the years. I'm not sure what happens next for these women, but I'll let you know in another 5 years. P.S. We should all crowdfund expensive ego-massaging health food products to sell to these post-wall epiphany phase women. We can funnel that sweet, sweet beta alimony cash right into our pockets. Well, anonymous day-hole, thanks for your donation. These epiphany phase women seem to have incredibly high standards as they expire out of their 30s and head well into their 40s. I've had a bit of my own epiphany lately that women don't actually face the wall the way that we think they do. The wall for them is not getting too old to get attention from men anymore, but they get too old or unattractive to get the attention from the men that they really want it from, the chads. They will still get attention from men even into their 60s and 70s, but they just don't get the attention from the alphas that they want. They want the alpha males that are willing to settle down with them, the used up beta females. That's like a no-alt unicorn for one of these women. A post-wall beta female's unicorn is an alpha male that wants to settle down with her. You'd be surprised, but for some of them, this actually happens. They quite often wait for the newly discovered alpha males that might have been married for 20, 30, or even 40 years. For whatever reason, these guys leave those relationships and are now free on the market. Maybe his ex-wife was an alcoholic, or she was verbally abusive or physically abusive to boot. Perhaps she died. Suddenly there's a new alpha male on the market, and the epiphany phase women that have realized this have the perfect patsy to target. An alpha male that's been in a relationship for so long that he has no idea of his value in the sexual marketplace. And women are willing to wait a decade or two for such a guy. My ex-girlfriend of 10 years, her mother found herself such a guy. Things ended between him and his alcoholic wife, and he was free to date. He was tall, wealthy with his own house, cottage, investments, luxury vehicle, etc. Her mother waited 10 to 15 years of being single to be with him. He was so happy with her because she's a quiet woman that uses passive-aggressive manipulation and puts men at ease by not talking to them. To him, she was the first woman he had ever been with that was like this, and he was stunned by her and she seduced him. My ex learned to be one of the quiet ones from her mother, it seems. So just to recap, women that pass the wall do not actually have an epiphany and think that life is finished. They will keep seeking out the unicorn guy if they can. They know he's out there. They will scour the hospices, funeral homes, divorce courts, or any other place where a recently divorced alpha male might be hanging out. In the meantime, many women will do the things that you mentioned, including becoming speaking coaches, life coaches, empowerment coaches, etc. I know tons of women like that all try to basically become professional speakers so they don't have to get real jobs. They daydream of getting $5,000 to $10,000 on the stage to speak for 10 to 20 minutes and entertain the crowds. These same women will post on Facebook every day trying to start music careers at 40 and become television stars. Many of my clients with regards to video and photography are in their late 30s or 40-something women trying their last-ditch efforts to become famous and get attention. Most don't give up, they just keep going and going, even as their followers begin to evaporate. It's not just their last attempt at stardom, they actually appear to be sucked into daydreaming about how at any moment their coaching career is going to hit the big times. They think to themselves that clients will come pouring in at some point. They don't accept the reality that it's very unlikely to happen, but like a child, they basically act as though success is a guaranteed, and it's like a lottery ticket that hasn't been cashed in yet. Forget about selling these women healthy food products. I sell these women the image capturing services to get themselves out there on social media. You're also right that it's usually the beta males that are footing the bill for this. One of my female clients left and abandoned her own son, and the son overdosed and died. She wrote about it and made a blog about her experiences trying to make some money off of it. I was commissioned to take pictures for her at her son's grave. She was always telling me how things were out of her control and she could never take agency for anything. In the end, she felt happy that she was getting all the attention from the work that I was doing with regards to what had happened to her son. She used her own dead son's memory as a means for attention seeking. A son that would still be alive if she was there for him in the past, but she left. But of course, being a woman, she could never take responsibility for these actions. On top of that, she wasn't the one paying me for taking the pictures. It was actually the beta male partner that she was with that was giving me the money. She rejected him when they were younger and ran off to have a family with a bad boy, and many years later she decided to get back together with him when he was successful. Anonymous a-hole, I don't think you realize how long women are willing to keep you in the back of their minds. I get former ex-girlfriends here or there contacting me out of the blue, or women that I showed interest in checking me out from time to time. I guess they haven't found their Chad yet, and they're waiting to see how my life is going so they can see about cashing me in like a high-yield bond. The thing he said about alpha males disappearing around the age of 27 or 28 is rather interesting. That's usually when the women hit the alpha wall. The beta wall most women never actually hit until she's perhaps in her 70s. They will always seem to get a beta male's attention. But once they hit that alpha wall, it's like they have to put themselves out there on social media to try and signal to any remaining alphas out there of their potential higher value, and that they still exist and that they're ready to settle down now that they're in their early 40s. And you mustn't have any gray pubic hairs to ride that particular cock carousel. That should be their slogan. That's also the time when the dating market gets clogged up with mid-30 to 40-something women looking to find a man that will have enough surplus money for them, but he won't actually have any surplus brains. He'll just hand over his cash to be in her presence and nothing else. A man that seeks female validation that didn't get it while he was a lot younger. But like I said many times before, with Tinder and other dating apps, women aren't settling for the betas like they used to. No matter how much the men of MGTOW think that women hit the wall and then settle for some loser, it's not happening. Their standards are going up and up as they age along with their demands. Maybe 10 or 20 years ago they had their epiphany phase and decided to settle down. But that's not happening with the women that I know in their late 30s and early 40s. They're fighting incredibly hard to keep their looks, getting nose jobs, facials, breast augmentations, and training their bodies harder and harder. It's chat or nothing, just like for many men going their own way, it's an all or nothing. So both men and women are staying single as a result. In the past, women were forced to get married because they couldn't go out and work and make their own money. It was simply a no-brainer. Today, on the other hand, it's a completely different world. Anonymous a-hole, the options 1 through 3 that you sent me are increasingly off the table for many women. Even the fat and unattractive women that work for nonprofits won't settle for betas anymore. The only reason I would see a woman marrying these days is if she gets baby rabies, and that's what the guy wants in exchange for impregnating her. She gets pregnant, the relationship quickly ends, and he has to pay her child support. And that's the plan all along. I know one well-to-do guy in his 40s that only dates women that are older than him. His father is going to leave him a fortune worth anywhere between $10 and $20 million. And I've told him that if he's going to date women, that he should go for the ones in their 20s. Instead, he has no idea about his own sexual marketplace value. Women prey on guys like this. Just to recap, the only epiphany I think women have these days is when they finally realize that their best option for finding Chad after they hit 30 is to find a newly divorced guy or widower that's a naive alpha because he's been in a relationship for a decade or two and doesn't understand how female nature has changed. Anyways, that's all I've got to say. Thanks again, Anonymous a-hole, for your donation and your topic. Don't forget to smash the like button, bang the bell, and check out the MGTOW mystery link. To get tomorrow's video today, follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook. Subscribe to me on Minds.com to get the video for the day after tomorrow. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills, and remember, a red pill a day keeps the naive ex-husbands away. So enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.